We are running outside shirtless. Say goodbye to shirted Taren. You're welcome, world. In other news of mistakes runners choose to make, today we're going to go through 5 of the most common mistakes that beginner triathletes make when it comes to running. Quite often, what a lot of these things will do will actually be to your detriment. You might be running, but you might not be getting any faster. This will help you get faster, stay injury-free. Ooh, that's low. So, all right, Trainiacs, as you start running, getting into the sport as a new triathlete, running is, I would say, second in line. Actually, you know what? It's all kind of a holy smokes, I didn't realize how hard swimming, biking, and running is. Now, there are, I would say, 5 key things that new triathletes do that could be improved to make their running experience a lot easier. The first one is that triathletes often don't run enough. What's enough? Twice per week is enough for a brand new triathlete, and that can probably last you for upwards of 4, 5, 6 years, even more, your entire triathlon career. Why 2? Because we need to do 2 different things in our run. Number 1, we need to go really long. We need to build up the endurance, the muscular stamina to go for hours and hours on end. We need to make sure that we can complete the distance, and we need to stimulate the ability to go fast. Now, often what triathletes will do when they start getting into the sport is they just go and run. And it ends up not being a very long run or a very fast run. They're just out running for the sake of running. What you need to have is a purpose, and the 2 purposes that you need to have when you start run training as a triathlete is going long, going fast. So now the second issue relates to that first issue, and it's when you go for that long run, it's not running long enough. Quite often what I see is triathletes might run a 4 or 5K run over and over and over for a sprint, or an 8 to 10K run over and over and over for an Olympic distance race, not realizing that you need to do an over distance run. You need to run actually longer than you're going to run in the race, because when you run in the race, you're going to have load in the legs from the bike, and you are going to be at a race pace. So you're going to be taxing yourself quite a bit more than when you go out for that fresh run. So you need to challenge yourself a little bit more than when you go out for that fresh run. How long is long enough? Well, for a sprint, you want to build up to about a 7 to 8K run. An Olympic, somewhere in between about 13 and 15K. A half Ironman, somewhere in between about 21 and 23 kilometers. And for a full Ironman, you actually don't need to run the full distance, but somewhere upwards of about the total length of time that you anticipate running during your race, split over 2 runs within a 36-hour period. It's called a split run, and we do them a lot on teamtrainiac.com, because what we want to do is we want to run for maybe 2 hours so we stay nice and fresh, still be a little bit fatigued, and then within the next 36 hours run another hour and a half to 2 hours. But when you run long, you gotta run long. Now, the next thing that beginner triathletes get incorrect with their run is when they run long, they often run too hard. And forget beginner triathletes, here I am in my 10th season of triathlon, and I am still running too hard. I was just told by Dan Plews, who is last year's Kona winner for the amateurs. He's a published sports scientist out of New Zealand. He has coached 3 professional triathletes to sub 8-hour Ironmans, and he looked at my running and he said, even at running a long run of 140 beats a minute or less, he's like, it's just a little bit hot. We want you running at 135 beats a minute or lower. So these long runs, they are meant to be long, very aerobic, very talking kind of pace, not challenging. Why do we not do challenging? Because it takes too much out of your body. Going long takes a lot out of your body, but then all of a sudden when you start going fast and long, it is exponentially harder on your nervous system, and it ends up beating you up more than you need to. Let long be long, but you don't have to always be going long and fast. The fast will come later. So keep those long runs smooth, very easy. Like, I got passed by a lot of people on the weekend kind of easy. That's okay. Now, next issue is how do we actually build up speed? And we will get to that right after this message. Gotta pay the bills. Today's video is brought to you by Sporks. These are the only socks that I wear when I'm working out. And if they're good enough for Lucy Charles, they are good enough for me. Love Tri socks? Got 'em. Need to go beast mode? Do it. Want to feel spicy? Sporks have you covered. Sporks has everything. Cute kissy lips, flamingos, freaky deaky custom Kona sock dudes, they've got it all. Use the coupon code Taren to get 10% off all regular price socks from the Sporks website, and there is a link in the description below to that Sporks website. If you click through that, let them know that you came from us. Thanks, Sporks. So where does that speed come in? Well, that comes in with the fourth thing that new triathletes get wrong when they start running a lot, and it's that when they run fast in that second run of the week, they don't run fast like Petey runs fast. They run fast like Lazy Gracie runs fast, which is just kind of like So when you do that second run of the week, quite often what a lot of new triathletes do is they get like a little bit fast, a little bit uncomfortable, and then they try to run slightly longish. Those sprint athletes try to push it a little bit for the 4 or 5K run that they do, or the Olympic athletes just try to push it a little bit for that 8 to 10K run that we do. But what we want is one long run, one really fast run, and when you do that fast run, it can be quite short, but it's got to be fast. In my third season of triathlon, I don't know why I started doing this, but I thought, you know what? I need to unlock some speed. I need to get past this ceiling that I've got where I just can't go any faster. So what I started doing is once a week for only about 15 minutes, I would go and I would run absolute max effort wind sprints across a soccer field. And the total run volume might have been in between about 1 and 2 kilometers, but what happened is instead of running a 28-minute sprint race, I was all of a sudden running a 21-minute sprint triathlon. I all of a sudden went from a 1:52 half marathon down to a 1:32 half marathon. And it wasn't like I was running a ton more, I was just running a ton faster because I was stimulating the muscles. So when you run fast, you run really fast. How do you make sure you do that without getting injured, however? That's where the final piece comes in. So the final thing that new triathletes get wrong when it comes to running is they just go and run. And we have a lifetime of typically sitting at a desk. Most triathletes are desk workers, or we sit a lot at home, or we sit a lot in the car. So there's a lot of sitting and it kind of hunches us over. And we build this body structure that isn't really natural for running. We also then go and grab a pair of shoes that have a big, bulky heel for a lot of cushion, and we instantly start running with really bad form. But what you need to do is to make sure that running isn't hard on you. If you feel like that athlete that's like, oh, you know, the first 5 minutes is really hard and then I'm sore for the next few days, and you can't, after 3 weeks, go out and run pain-free and everything's just creaky and cracky, odds are you're not running smooth enough. You need to develop the ability to run fast while you're running smooth. And we shot a video right here that I'll link to over here and at the end of this video, and we called it the embarrassingly simple truth about running technique. And when it comes right down to it, essentially, it's just a series of tiny little hops and leaning forward. And anything more than that is starting to get very, very complicated, and it might be beating up your body a lot more than you need to. So the basics that you need to hit when you start taking up triathlon as it relates to running is run twice a week, once really long, once really fast. Pete, are you done sneezing? When you run long. Build up to being longer than the distance that you're going to race. Third, when you run long, run very easy. Fourth, when you run fast, very fast. And fifth, start looking a little bit at your technique. And for that, you can look at the video that we did right over here, or you could go and take a look at teamtrainiac.com, where we have cues of in all of these structured workouts where we tell you which should be the long workout, which should be the really hard workout, how hard does hard need to be, how long or how easy does easy need to be, and cues for the things that you should focus on while you're running. It's all right there for you, so go check that out. Good PD bombs, Pete. All right. If you aren't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button below and go check out teamtrainiac.com. Later, Trainiacs.